Another task long overdue is the removing of these windows in the doghouse. So I started on this project now. It's quite messy. There's the window. Not really sure how I'm going to mount it. I don't like this setup and I'm going to have a think about it. But let's see if I can go get a quote. And today I'm going to go get some of this plastic cut and replace that. I need 4 massive chunks, but I'll start with the one, see how much it costs. These things are polycarb and they're not normally very cheap. Right, next day, and I've left the fridge going for a while. I actually left it for 2 days and I have like cold water, like genuinely decent cold water, which is really nice. So I'm starting to think that what I should do is maybe keep this fridge. Alright, well, that's one experiment working, and it's actually surprising how much still works on this boat despite the condition of everything. But that's not today's mission. Today's mission is to take that window out properly and start prepping that surface for new windows. But there's a lot of noise here today, so I hope you can hear it. I have already taken this out. I just lightly taped it back in with some silver tape because it was raining 2 days ago. But today I have to clean all of this old gunk off on both sides and then sand, definitely sand. And if I can get around to it, I can probably paint or at least prime. Right, let's get on with it. Hi everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining again this week. And that's quite right, we're removing this window. We got a new one to make and I've already sourced all the material, but it requires a little bit of fixing up. This has been sort of an ignored thing on this boat for, I guess, a few years now. So how the windows are bedded in on this side, I have no idea. They were just screws. The top half has a lip and this side has a lip, and this has a little groove that we can move it into. I have to remove all of the gunk that's kind of built up over time, and the only way to do this is with a chisel. I guess it's some kind of Sikaflex. It's super hard, but it'll all come off and we can get on with it. So obviously before I start priming here, I need to sand it a bit down and get the old varnish off. And I think I mentioned before, but some areas on this boat had shoe polish instead of varnish for whatever reason. Next up is a bit of epoxy just to deal with this area. So this area wasn't very good, water had been leaking through there. So I've sanded it down very aggressively and I'm going to glass a little bit on here. And I already have a small matte weave bit of glass put in here and I'm just taping it down. I've already cut it to fit, so this is just a little bit of added security just to make sure that this area dries nicely and doesn't happen again. Alright, this is a primer. My usual primer that I love to use, Interguard. It's a 2-part epoxy primer. And I need this on to give me a bit of a base coat and to protect the wood. There we go. This is my last little bit of epoxy primer that I have. No more after this. It's a very bad first coat. Now, while that dries, I'm going to get on with other work. Thought I'd show you the progress in here. So things are definitely looking cool in here. So we got to do one more stand on the bunk, and then everything gets a top coat and probably the final top coat. I have to do some plumbing removal in here. There used to be a sink in this room, and I've got to remove all of that. That'll take a bit of time, and then I have to build a hanging closet from there to there, and then probably along there to there some shelves. Alright, sanding a small piece of the floor just so that I can get a rough idea, and I do mean rough, of what it's going to take. So this was with a 60 grit pad, I believe. Yeah, 60 grit. This will take some time. But just wanted to see what it would look like. We're probably going to do some sort of coating on the floor anyway. I don't know if we're going to keep everything wood. I'm a fan of bright, light colors. I don't like things being as dark. I'm not a fan of the old school wood look. So we decided we would stick with this blue paint on the sides of the coach roof, not just the doghouse. It looks really, really nice, and I do love this blue paint. It's from Asco Nobel as well. It's also Interthane 990, but it's been pigmented with this beautiful blue. So it's a hard wearing 2-part epoxy paint, and we used it on Mistress a few years ago. I've loved this paint ever since I used it on that boat, so I keep it around not just to touch up Mistress, but for this project now. And we'll probably use this as a theme throughout the boat. So I probably prematurely pulled this tape off, but before it gets too dry, I wait until it's at least a little bit touch dry before I pull the tape off. And I was very keen to see how this worked out. We don't have super neat lines at all on our boat, but I'm trying to make semi-neat lines, just throw all of this rubbish away. That being said, that's probably about all we have time for this week. Thank you everybody for joining. Please like, subscribe, comment in the comments. Trying to make better videos, trying to cram it full of content. But at some point soon, I'll have to focus on a couple of big projects which are coming up. So there'll be an entire video in the next 2-3 weeks just on the engine. Some massive progress there, at least I hope so. At the time of recording this voiceover, I haven't started the engine yet, but I plan to do that this week. So I will see you all next week. Bye bye.